The year was 2081, and everybody was finally equal. They weren't only equal before God and the law, they were equal every which way. Nobody was smarter than anybody else. Nobody was better looking than anybody else. Nobody was stronger or quicker than anybody else. All this equality was due to the 211th, 212th, and 213th Amendments to the Constitution, and to the unceasing vigilance of agents of the United States Handicapper General. Kurt Vonnegut Jr. wrote a short dystopic story entitled Harrison Bergeron, the main theme being the nightmare of total equality. People are not allowed to be smarter, better looking, or stronger than anyone else. Equality laws are enforced, and citizens who display special attributes must be handicapped. Those who are good looking are forced to wear disfiguring masks. Those who are intelligent must wear ear radios that emit loud noises disrupting their thinking, and those who are strong are forced to wear heavy weights. People begin to dumb themselves down or hide their special attributes for fear of punishment. Equality is finally achieved, but at the cost of freedom and individuality. One's utopia is another's dystopia. Chesterton writes, "When all are sexless, there will be equality. There will be no women and no men. There will be but a fraternity, free and equal. The only consoling thought is that it will endure but for one generation." This seems increasingly less far-fetched in today's world. But what could explain the increasing promotion of equality to the point of it being absurd? If one scratches beneath the surface, one factor may be what Viktor Frankl calls the unheard cry for meaning that plagues modern society. The modern age is characterized by a sense of disorientation, of not knowing what to do with one's life. Nietzsche foresaw the rise of this and wrote extensively about nihilism, which he considered as the lack of higher values brought about by the death of God. The answer is lacking to our why. He writes, "What were we doing when we unchained this earth from its sun? Whither is it moving now? Whither are we moving? Away from our suns? Are we not plunging continually, backward, sideward, forward, in all directions? Is there still any up or down? Are we not straying as through an infinite nothing? God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? What was holiest and misest of all that the world has yet owned has bled to death under our knives. Who will wipe this blood off us? What water is there for us to clean ourselves? What festivals of atonement? What sacred games shall we have to invent? Is not the greatness of this deed too great for us? Must we ourselves not become gods simply to appear worthy of it?" Nietzsche's proverbial and tragic proclamation of the death of God is prophetic in the sense that modernity has replaced God with public opinion and the entertainment culture. Scientific rationality has advanced the human species, but at the cost of showing our smallness in the cosmos, that we are but the product of evolution, of an accidental birth in the flux of becoming and perishing, and that we should remain skeptical about the idea of an afterlife and a God. We all go about our daily routine until something makes us stop and contemplate. Albert Camus puts it perfectly. Rising, streetcar, 4 hours in the office or factory. Meal, streetcar, 4 hours of work. Meal, sleep. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, according to the same rhythm. This path is easily followed most of the time, but one day the why arises, and everything begins in that weariness tinged with amazement. Bishop Robert Barron tells us that to have a meaningful life is to be in a purposive relationship to a value, the good, the true, and the beautiful. Religious value, on the other hand, is a life lived in purposive relationship to the summum bonum, the supreme value or highest good, the source of goodness, truth, and beauty, which is God. A value nests in a higher value, and so on indefinitely. But there must be a summum bonum that is motivating us, that is religious meaning. Contrary to former times, modern man is not told by traditions and universal values what he should do. He thus risks falling into relativism with the absence of objective truth, where there is no absolute right or wrong, but solely the truths by what the individual or culture happens to believe. We fall into the ego drama that we are the center of everything, causing a clash of independent and subjective wills against one another, the most powerful will establishing itself as authoritarian. This creates the perfect storm for totalitarianism, doing what others tell you to do, and conformism, doing what others do. One of the best examples of how human nature and social systems work to build a totalitarian regime can be seen in George Orwell's Animal Farm. Orwell depicts a story where animals are treated harshly by humans. The animals gather together to rebel against them, and eventually they overthrow their masters. The animals sing in victory and look forward to a society where all animals are equal, happy, free, and have enough to eat. Following the rebellion, the pigs who are well read and educated slowly take the role of leaders of the animal farm. The pigs who are in power preach equality for all and speak of a great utopian society. As time progresses, however, the pigs become more and more corrupt and abuse their power for personal gain, controlling the other animals to remain in power, establishing a dictatorship. The original message, all animals are equal, turn into all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. In other words, the promotion of total equality paradoxically leads to inequality. This book is an allegory on human nature whose main message rings true even today. However, any appeal to the objectivity of truth and value is a threat to tyrants. Whenever you appeal to an authority outside the will of the most powerful, you are limiting that totalitarian instinct. Chesterton writes, "It is only by believing in God that we can ever criticize the government. Once abolish the God, and the government becomes the God." Conformism is another result of disorientation which may promote totalitarianism. People simply beg an idea to look good in the eyes of others and do not truly believe in the cause they publicly support. And those who do not preach what they do are punished and frowned upon. Stephen Fry states, "It's a strange paradox that the liberals are illiberal in their demand for liberality. They are exclusive in their demand for inclusivity. They are homogeneous in their demand for heterogeneity. They are somehow undiverse in their call for diversity. You can be diverse, but not diverse in your opinions, and in your language, and in your behavior, and that's a terrible pity." Nietzsche calls these the preachers of equality, who exercise revenge and insult all whose equals they are not. However, those who call themselves the good and the just, and wish to punish and impose their views on others, are not to be trusted. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche writes about the preachers of equality in his famous parable on the tarantulas, who wish to spread the poison of revenge. "Look here, this is the hole of the tarantula. Do you want to see the tarantula itself? Its web hangs here. Touch it, make it tremble. Here it comes willingly. Welcome, tarantula. On your back your triangle and mark sits in black. And I know too what sits in your soul. Revenge sits in your soul. Wherever you bite, there black scabs grow. Your poison makes the soul whirl with revenge. So I speak to you in parables, you who cause the souls to whirl. You preachers of equality, tarantulas you are to me, and hidden avengers. But I want to expose your hiding places to the light. Therefore I laugh into your face, my laughter of the heights. Therefore I tear at your web, so that your rage might lure you from your lie-hole lair, and your revenge might spring forth from behind your word justice. For that mankind be redeemed from revenge. That to me is the bridge to the highest hope, and a rainbow after long thunderstorms. To the preachers, equality is life and justice. To Zarathustra, equality is vengeance and death. And its preachers, the tarantulas, are to be torn from their webs. They preach revenge against all those who are not their equals, wishing to impose a new virtue, a will to equality. Everything that has power will thus be despised. However, this is opposed to our instincts. Just as a tree will naturally seek to grow its roots and gain resources, so will a person seek to develop his health, wealth, strength, and status, which are all expressions of his will to power. You preachers of equality, the tyrant's madness of impotence cries thus out of you for equality. Your secret tyrant's cravings mask themselves thus in your words of virtue. It is the madness of impotence and vanity that makes them cry out for equality, erupting like a flame from the madness of revenge. Mistrust in all whom the drive to punish is strong. Mistrust all who speak much of their justice. Zarathustra, however, does not want to succumb to their revenge. Alas, then the tarantula bit me, my old enemy. Punishment and justice must be, thus it thinks. Not for nothing shall he sing his songs in honor of hostility here. Yes, it has avenged itself, and alas, now it will also make my soul whirl with revenge. But so that I do not whirl, my friends, bind me fast to this pillar here. I would rather be a starlight than a whirlwind of revenge. Zarathustra does not want to be mixed and confused with others. Some preach the doctrine of life, but are at the same time creatures of equality and tarantulas. Zarathustra preaches the doctrine of life, but not of equality. For justice speaks to me, humans are not equal, and they shouldn't become so either. What would my love for the Overman be if I spoke otherwise? Nietzsche's Overman is the ultimate form of man and the meaning of the earth. He is in constant becoming and self-overcoming, and unlike the preachers of equality who seek power over others, the Overman seeks power over himself. It is clear, however, that not everyone can become extraordinary. That would seem a utopia for Nietzsche. He calls the chasm between the ordinary and the extraordinary a pathos of distance. But that should not be a reason for the ordinary people to eliminate all traces of the extraordinary, the strong, the aristocratic, and noble out of sheer spite. This is Nietzsche's main critique of the preachers of equality. The dystopian scenario for Nietzsche is the mediocrity and conformity of the last man, who not only does not want to be different, but is perfectly happy to be virtually the same as everyone else. This is leveling par excellence, that is, putting everyone at the same level and missing all the subtle complexities of human identity. And it is these who are most prone to fall prey to totalitarianism, which Orwell masterfully portrayed in his book 1984, with the perfect totalitarian society: psychological manipulation, mass surveillance, control of mind and body, control of information and history, control of language, and eradication of individuality. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Freedom and individuality is key, and we mustn't get carried away by the siren songs. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can support the channel on Patreon or by liking, commenting, or sharing the content. Thank you for watching.
Recon. Put you in the simple for the harvest is right. We ain't down for wickedness, false prophets a lie. Woman to the wicked grass of blind the sight. Unquenchable flame stars fall in the night. Shemayim snapped the scroll, mountains fled in the anger. Hills a flock of rams skipping special forces, recon angels. Really by no labels, we bout labor for the source. Wells up in infinite, waters coming forth. Spiritual revival, dehydration shall I pour. Kept the run down to the mouth, cool floor. Kingdom heaven in me is parts of the morbid head. Treasure like deep in you, key to the never end. We all a ray, a fragment piece of the sea slid. ceaseless. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on and then you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covered in Nehemiah, not Easter. We all array, a fragment piece of the ceaseless. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on and then you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covered in Nehemiah, not Easter. Not a game, stolen the soul arrangement, adversary in the details. Mirrors and smoking angels, incriminating emails. Fake news, read the paper. Pimping who been printing, it's all designed to take ya. Division in your cells, almighty sustain. Ain't got her relying on nothing else. In trouble, it's all vapor, elder wind in the sails. The water, the whole rainbow reclamation, just a vessel. The rest of Jonah you came for. Stay mind, blow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you. Word on my wing, stay mind, blow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you. Word on my wing. Force tremendous, Bill Adam breath, living dust, mushy for the enemy, burnt down like a Dutch. Once upon a distant, dirty sackcloth in the ashes.
God damn it,
don't blow a mischief, pray get raised about the ashes. Save me from the Mario, it fell of not your pasture. Had you not an anchor, if you save me, I'll be thrown to the thief, leech, mind of the corn. Stone in the sling, sing signs in the storm. Rock foundation, time echo with the north. Recon over game, wings fly with the force. All purpose type material to camouflage the course. Tiger stripe, orange, red drip from the source. We all array, your fragment piece of the ceaseless. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on it then, you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covered in Nehemiah, not Easter. Stay mind, blow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you. Word on my word. Stay mind, blow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you. Word on my wing.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I want to help you. I want to help you live the life you want to love.
Imagination. The government is a figment of your imagination. It's an artificial, intelligent overlay. It is only a concept. It's a play. It's a performance. It's an act. They love when I have to fucking go off. I can look at something from a few different sides, and I can see where it all connects, despite what they're telling me. Right? They just look at what they're told. I look at what makes sense. You know, they'll say I'm doing word salad. They'll say that I'm just going off on my own tangent, but that is because my mind works in a different way than the majority of the slaves. You guys are all in your feelers and never see the logic behind life, how it all moves together and fits together and how it works. So when you learn to check your feelers and move them out of the way and just observe with clarity and presence and awareness, you will make the right determinations and the right decisions. It's all the same shit over and over again. And no matter how much I speak on self-empowerment, self-mastery, self-reflection, you all have a belief and a feeling that's going to trump that. Ancient wisdom that works for everybody who embodies the path. You're not your own God. I know you want to be, but you're not. As soon as you get in line with what that thing wants from you or what is, you'll stop having these fucking problems. I view all the rest of this shit as a distraction. Governance is an act and a play, and it requires your belief and participation. The culture, the society, the legal system, the legal society, policy, statute, and code is the original artificial intelligence and state of consciousness that has been overlaid on the NI. And that's why you have domesticated slaves and you have uncivilized men like myself. You don't want to accept that there's an objective morality that exists in this realm that every man and woman can comprehend using objective logic. It's not about wanting the fame and the riches. It's about being good at what you do, being recognized for it, and then when you get to the dance, telling all the people to suck your dick in public and leave because you never wanted to bond with them anyway. That's the whole point.
Everyone's got to appreciate.
So that wherever you get to,
everyone's got to fucking
you don't have to change
bow
that
down, and
that's what got you there. I got a direct link to that spirit and to the people who you can't get in between that. That's beyond worldly power. That's where you go beyond the ceiling that they don't want you to go beyond. That's the stage of inspiration and empowerment. They can't control you no more. They can't influence you no more. They can't put fear on you and things around you to stop you from being who and what you're meant to be. That's the game for me. That's the game for all of us, I thought. Actualized and realized. Written on our heart, first and foremost, through common sense, that if not overlaid with some dogma and indoctrination, we could all communicate harmoniously. Right? So I'm never going to accept, unless my perspective completely changes, that there isn't an objective morality here that can be hit as a standard and understood by any being with the capacity of objective logic, understanding right from wrong. Okay? So you just want to say statute, policy, and code is law, and the law is the law, even though they're making it up and revising it constantly. And it's not always in line with objective right from wrong. So you're completely misunderstood. You guys talk from feelers. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Your etymology is never sound because you don't care to look into the words and terms. This should not be that difficult. But for beings who lost the ability to imagine, I'm sure that it's quite the Herculean task. You should be able to zoom out and see all the connections and how it relates. You can't do that, you have no business speaking to someone else who can. There is no selfless component to you folks' consciousness. And it's evident because you constantly project onto others how selfish you think they are because you don't think that that state of consciousness is attainable. Embarrassing.
Greetings, folks. Oh man, I want to eat, huh? The word got back. The loser, failure, haters, as always, are projecting onto me that I'm not fasting. I'm lying to the audience and doing it online and all the rest of it. It's amazing, but keep doing what you do. It wouldn't be right if you weren't lying and hating on me and projecting onto me. Blessings to you. You guys need it, apparently even more than I do. That's saying something. But no, I wouldn't get online and lie to everybody's face and project something that's not true and real and authentic to me in my journey. It doesn't make any sense. But feel free to think and feel what you wish. This is something that I'm doing for me to practice discipline and to take some fat off my body and to, I guess, find out what I'm capable of in alignment with what has been put down by others. So as I joked about another place, I forget where I was, apparently the record has been set by an obese man for almost 400 days he fasted. So I guess we should start worshiping him instead of Jesus, because Jesus only did 40. I keep saying that, but I may decide to have a salad at some point today. Maybe tomorrow. I may decide to keep going. I'm not quite sure yet what I want to do with that. I could stand to continue to keep going as far as my belly's concerned. But yeah, there is something to be said about just eating well. And as usual, a testament to my extremism. You know, another thing that I've learned about myself. So I could go another, I'm sure, over 10 days. But again, it's not a competition with me and the being from Scripture. And at this point, I may decide to just call it in order to not get in my ego, brothers and sisters, because it's really not about proving anything. It's about, you know, other than to myself and doing the next right thing and being as healthy as I can be and healing this disease. But it's not a competition with any other being, right? So I guess we'll see how it goes. It's definitely a me thing, right? In the sense of I go from eating like a fat pig to eating nothing at all, and then, you know, being like, okay, I'm going to keep doing that. Just like going from using all drugs and being a complete addict to pretty much being not straight edge, as they say, but pretty much turning my nose up at all substances, mostly because the substances are of unknown source and could potentially be poisonous. And because it would seem to me that a good majority of folks who use these drugs and substances and herbs and plants, misuse them and abuse them, or use them in order to escape, which is everyone's right. But it's one of the reasons I don't talk more about it. I don't really promote it. And I'm not really always supportive of folks, especially in this venue. Um, when they want to talk about getting high and using drugs and self medicating and doing escapism, right? Not being hypocritical is just something at this point I don't do. I don't support. Not that I don't believe certain plants and herbs and quote unquote drugs have a place as tools, but because, like most things in this realm, we abuse them and misuse them or use them to escape. And that's not the point, it would seem to me, of life. So, all right. Questions, comments, concerns, you know the deal. If you got anything you want to present, if you got questions about legal and lawful courting, or I guess life in general, I've become sort of a pseudo life coach here, as some others have um, fashioned themselves. I don't necessarily see it that way. I just look at myself as a man pursuing certain extraordinary knowledge, understanding, application, results. Extraordinary is the word. And I'm willing to speak on that perspective and give that away to whoever finds value and or entertainment with that. Other than that, though, I don't really require anything to fulfill me or to validate my perspective or position. So that's a you thing, right? We talked about the me thing. That's a you thing. So if you got anything, whoever you are, and you want to attempt to present it or go over it, I'm all ears, or all nose and lips, as many have pointed out, the albino creature that I am. So, if not, we're going to be pretty clip heavy. I know I said that yesterday and proceeded to rant and rave or just monologue for a good hour and a half, 2 hours straight. But most likely not the case today. What's your nationality, my guy? They tell me Irish and Italian. Half and half. Maybe a little bit of Scottish or something else thrown in there, but mostly Irish and Italian is what I'm told. Oh, yeah, that's another thing that folks have brought up, that a lot of the jealous, envious, hater slaves in their projection have claimed that Jeeps is Jennifer down there. It's not. Jennifer has no will or wish to be a part of these panels. She sees value in what I do. She's entertained by what I do, but she finds the majority of these panels and the people who frequent them to be not only annoying, but dissolute, pathetic, embarrassing, and not folks that she would probably want to keep company with. So I don't necessarily disagree with her. She just may be more functional than I am, although I occupy somewhat of a different position because I am a host to a degree. Jennifer can't imagine why the majority of these folks would come to these places and do what she hears them doing the majority of the time. And she damn sure wouldn't waste her time, energy, attention, and life on it. Again, maybe something to be said. She may have to go start a channel and a broadcast and take over for me. If I had enough weight, I would go for the 40. Well, there you go. All right, let's see here. Let me switch up some frequencies. A dead silence. Never heard anybody. Checking over the chat, see if I missed any. I believe you're fasting, but are you drinking enough water? I want to believe so. A lot of folks concerned with me, what I'm doing. Interesting dynamic. Guess there's worse problems to have. All right, let's go copping out. Give me your ID. Female cops get owned, forced into walk of shame. ID refusal exposes abuse. We'll put some energy out there and see what comes back in the way of panel, non-panel. I would never rest stream. What the fuck you be talking about? I don't know what that means. I know what you're talking about. People very confused. Audit, not audit.
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm filming. Because I'm filming. What's that? I need to move along? No, I don't. Okay, I'm not blocking the driveway at all. You can't give me unlawful orders and directives. Can I get your name and badge number?
Yeah, what's your ID?
I need your name and badge number first.
Art?
You have to suspect I'm committed a crime in order to ask for my ID, but what's your badge number?
You can't be filming over here.
I can. I go public property, filming public property.
You can't be filming over here.
You got.
Oh, I see now. You're one of those. Well, just to be clear, I don't pay taxes and I don't have a driver's license. Because you don't need to do either of those things as far as the law is concerned. You're confused the difference between legal and lawful. When you're ready, I'll enlighten you on how this all works. And I'll even provide my numerous accounts of firsthand experience at the court to provide as credibility for what I'm saying. And that's all on record if you want to go look for yourself. So I'm not complaining about what the police is doing. I'm upholding the law and standing for rights and going to jail if necessary, getting dismissals, and then suing people. So if you want to just buy into policy, statute, and code being law, you're free to do so, along with the rest of the slaves that we witness on these panels. Okay. So try not to project your lack of consciousness and awareness and fortitude onto everyone else in this experience. It's most, not all.
To get your supervisor. I'm on a public sidewalk filming. I'm absolutely allowed and protected on my First Amendment.
You can't be filming our gates.
That is incorrect. I've gone viral on YouTube over these videos. When people try to stomp on the rights, we are allowed to be here. It is protected under the First Amendment, and you have to identify yourself with your name and badge number when
I'm
you're
Sergeant
asked.
Marshall. Are you 707?
Okay. I need you to call a supervisor if that's the order you're trying to give me.
Oh, here's my captain.
Okay.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. What can I help you with today?
I'm just filming. I'm a citizen journalist. I'm doing a story on the police department.
What's a citizen's journalist? Can you just explain that to me, please?
Freedom of press. It's under the First Amendment. We are all allowed to become citizen journalists.
Okay. Okay, is there anything that you need in particular?
Absolutely not. I wasn't even engaging you guys at all.
Okay.
What's your name and badge number again?
Laura McLean, 5119.
Okay. I wasn't engaging you guys at all. Okay.
No, and that's fine, but we get curious when we have people that are filming.
You are.
Hold
Okay.
on, can I finish?
Yes.
I let you finish. We just get curious people out here filming us, wanting to know what's going on. So that's why we're contacting you to find out if you need anything or if anything's going on.
I do not need anything.
You don't need anything?
Absolutely
How
not.
long do you plan on being out here?
I have no idea yet. I honestly was almost done with leaving before she started being a psycho and giving me orders.
She's not. She's
but you can't get out and give unlawful orders and demand ID if you don't have any articulable suspicion of me committing a crime.
Okay. Sir, we can ask you for ID, but there comes a point where you either want to show it to us or you don't.
And I declined, and then she told me to move along.
Let me finish,
Okay.
okay? I didn't interrupt you. I'd appreciate it if you don't interrupt me, okay? Is that fair?
I will agree to that for now.
Okay. So, yes, we can ask people for ID, and it just depends on the situation if they want to give it to us or not, or if they're lawfully have to give it to us or not. But we can ask anybody.
Absolutely.
Hey, what's your name?
But she can't spout unlawful orders of a citizen.
Well,
Absolutely not. And there's no way you're going to convince me otherwise.
Did I say anything about any
Okay,
lawful?
but you haven't one time
I'm
said,
sorry. What's your name?
Mike. We'll go with that one.
Okay. You keep interrupting me, so apparently you're not going to let me finish my sentences.
But you didn't interrupt her when she's giving me unlawful directives.
Okay, because I was on the radio putting out our location here.
Okay.
So I wasn't listening to what she was exactly saying.
Okay, she told me I had no right to stand here.
I'm talking.
It doesn't matter. I'm allowed to talk over you if I want.
Okay, you just want to be rude. there.
It's not about that. You guys are trying to bully me and give me unlawful directives. She told me I can't be on a public sidewalk, which is
I didn't
false.
say that.
You said I need to move along and I cannot film here. That is complete. You cannot want, but I can. This is my right. I am exercising my right. I am allowed to exercise my right. There is no directives that will be lawful that you can give me to tell me to move on. That just can't happen. It will not happen.
Well, I was saying you needed to scoot back because the car was going to hit.
I absolutely don't. They had plenty of room to get in. Nobody was in threat of being hurt or run over. I'm this, like, look how far I am away from these vehicles and yourself. I'm not a danger to anybody, but you guys are treating me like I'm a danger to you.
Hold on 1 second. Let me finish, okay? Another car was trying to come in.
And I was not in the way.
Let me finish.
Hey, you're not talking to me like you're my mom.
Well, you're acting like a child, so yes.
Hey, go away. You're dismissed.
Okay.
You're dismissed. This fool thinks that she could direct everybody to not be on public property. That's fucking great.
This video perfectly illustrates why you can't blindly trust the police. First,
by the way, more examples to me of why the opposite can be true. A lot of the times they say women are worse policy enforcement. Oftentimes they're not, because they're not, if they're not toxic, which is a big if, they don't have as big of a false sense of self, toxic ego as the majority of the males. They're just there doing a job. They have their policy and procedure, and they're oftentimes not going to want to argue with you and go back and forth. So the majority of the males sit there all day and play games and power games and want to win and want to prove they're in charge. And then you have to go down the list and show them how they're retarded. So that was a perfect example of two ladies who, regardless of what we feel about policy enforcement, had their perceived job to do. They showed up, got it on record, and left. And didn't want to have it back and forth with this guy. And I'm not going to get down on the guy for being a bit short with them. He, like most people, are probably tired of being told what to do and asked questions by people who are not doing anything other than playing games in life. They're not serving anything as far as a higher calling goes. So, all in all, fairly equitable interaction, I would say. All right, what else do we have here? Judge loses all patience with man who won't stop talking. And at some point, as I said yesterday that we never got to, I'm going to lean pretty heavy on that Karl Lentz video. We're going to finish that up. May just only do an hour or so. Let's try full sentences. Mr. and Mrs. Save Man. Let's try subject and predicate, if you will. Please. We look forward to that here. I really feel like women shouldn't be in positions of law enforcement, correction officers, etc., but there is simply a lack of quality men to replace them. Yeah, I don't, there's no such thing as law enforcement. You don't have to enforce the law. You can enforce the law. You can uphold the law. And you can use force to stop someone who's not upholding the law if they're causing loss, injury, and harm. So I don't know what any of that means. It doesn't mean anything to me. I guess if we're going to pretend policy and code is law and that they're enforcing that, I'd prefer women to do that because it's not intimidating. It doesn't get me in more of a fear space. I'm not intimidated by women. So I don't mind the women rolling up and asking me questions and us creating an understanding and then moving forward. The majority of these males can't be trusted with false, let alone true power or value, because they will use it to corrupt ends and means. And I'm not saying that that's not generally anyone in policy enforcement, male or female. But from what I've seen and what I've experienced, typically, only the real hardcore wannabe male females are a problem. The rest of them are a lot easier and simpler to deal with because they just want to go home. They're not interested in playing fucking power games and being right when they're wrong. So, I guess we all have our own experiences. Sure. How about one couple should not own water rights for entire population of region? I don't know what that means. No idea what that means. Well, Taliban see some when it comes to women being at home and not able to do the job of man. Yeah, well, that's just common sense. While I will say that what I prefer, the reality of it is if you're going to do what they call law enforcement, policy enforcement, it's pretty ridiculous. You're going to put women out on the quote unquote front lines. It's just like military. If you want to uphold the law, it could go either way. If you're going to do policy enforcement, which is based in force, which is really violence, it doesn't make any sense to have women doing it because it's not intimidating and they're not going to be able to force me to do anything. I could argue most of these males can't force me to do anything beyond what I want to do or choose to do. So that's where it becomes a little bit ridiculous, is when you're going to hire women to do what a man does that a woman can't do. And the majority of women cannot tangle with physically the majority of men, especially men who are trained. The majority of males can't do that with a lot of men. So expecting women to do it is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of like putting them in battle on the front line. Historically, typically, most women don't do well in combat scenarios. And then I guess, we can argue, is that a historical thing? Is that a cultural, societal thing? You could argue in certain cultures and societies, the majority of women are trained to use guns and potentially fight, but they don't have the same, I guess, state of consciousness the majority of females you're going to meet on other lands. So they were kind of raised a different way. They were brought up a different way. And they can kind of fill in when necessary on certain tasks, behaviors, and activities. But typically, from what I've seen historically, not that anybody should really be going to war or be in combat scenarios, but when the inevitable happens, somebody attacks or invades, typically not exactly the best results for females, as much as they'd like to present that narrative that women can do everything that men can do. It's just not the case, by and large. Yeah, like women firefighters, right? I don't think that a woman's going to be able to break through a window and then carry me down a ladder. Probably just not a great idea. True women are more intuitive as they are more introvert and handle inside home, I guess is what you're going for there. Laheim. Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying that. I think that there's something to be said for tendencies. There's exceptions to the rules, but there would seem when it comes to men and women that there's tendencies. So men go out in the world, run the business. Women contribute to that, and are homemakers, right? And watch the children and raise the children along with the men. I'm not necessarily completely for the idea of a man having to leave the house every day in order to do business. But there's something to be said for a lot of these dynamics, right? Different times, different places, different aspects of self and life. For men who can't or don't do well with leaving the house and doing busyness, right, or creating something, they may want to practice that instead of being the house husband. There may be something to be said for not even just a woman, but anyone, potentially having aspects of a better relationship if everyone's not in everybody's face all the time, every day. Kind of do our own thing, and then we start together, we do our own thing in between, and we come back together. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I've been on both sides, and I think I prefer, well, I'm kind of in the middle at this point, like most things. I don't leave the house every day, but I have my own space. I kind of do my own thing, and Jennifer does her thing, and then we meet up at night, we share some time together, and we kind of do it all over again. So, but yeah, my situation's, I guess, unconventional one at this time. But yeah, I remember being at home and a woman going out to work and me being in the same spot when she got back, and not a good vibe. anything, probably better off the other way. Better when we had roles. Yes and no. I think that static roles is a lot of the, the false self thing. Again, there's a fine line there between recognizing aspects of self and practicing that, and then also saying it has to be this way every time, all the time, or else you're not XYZ, a man or a woman. So I think there's exceptions to the rules, but there's tendencies, and those tendencies are being turned on their head through, I guess, mental, emotional, biological, spiritual manipulation. Some have said more modern times, but yeah, I mean, there's who created those roles? Well, that's the thing is nobody has to necessarily create the roles um, for men and women to be men and women. And you wouldn't know it by looking at these panels, but typically men are more stoic, I guess you could say. Um, More masculine would make sense, right? And women would be more feminine. I know that this is a shocker here in an age where we don't know what a man and woman is and can't define it apparently on the whole. When I say we, of course, I'm jesting. But yeah, this idea that someone has to create roles for tendencies that are supernatural, I think is a bit of cope, right? Typically men are men and women are women until they're not. Everything's been turned on its head. So typically men don't want to act like a lot of these males you see on these panels, sitting around in the same spot all day, every day, doing and being nothing, being poor and broke, and letting women pick up all the slack for them in their life. Right. Now, while I've lived that life at one point for obvious reasons, because I was broken and depressed and lacking in purpose and meaning and discipline and drive and all the rest of it, there's so many folks on these panels who will cop out and try to pretend like that's normal and natural. It's not. So no one has to necessarily create these roles. It's based on our biochemistry. A man's testosterone is going to make him want to be up and out. He can be up and outside, be in the world, be moving and shaking, be creating something, be doing something, be interacting, networking. You boil it all down to certain aspects of chemistry. But in a new world where the majority of men don't have any testosterone anymore, they're full of estrogen. Well, they just sit around on their skinny or fat ass and act like a bunch of bitches. Don't go nowhere, don't do nothing, don't create nothing, don't network with anybody, you know, be part of some kind of leadership endeavor, some kind of communal endeavor. And they make excuses. Well, who created the roles? Nobody created the roles. It's part of our biochemistry. Typically, women lacking testosterone want to be around the house more. They want to be doing more effeminate activities, or they're just more called to do it, whether they want to do it or not. I'm not saying even men or women necessarily want to do these things or don't. They're just called to do it based on who they are in tendency. So tends to be until women decide they want to be like men, women don't want to run around town. They don't want to be that involved. They want to play the background. They want to raise a family. They get a certain satisfaction out of cooking and cleaning and doing whatever for themselves and their man and whoever else. While the man gets a certain sense of satisfaction putting something together and hustling and bringing something back home. See, no one created those roles. God created that. It's the tendencies of man and woman, and it works complementary if you let it be. It's turned on its head completely nowadays if you let it be, because folks want to overthink the shit out of everything and want to just deny the fact that, I guess, we have altered ourselves or been altered. It's not on a biochemical, on a mental, emotional, spiritual level, which is good till it's not, right? Adaptation, evolution is good till it's not. So you've adapted or evolved to the point where men are emasculated and the women are toxic masculine. They want to be successful. They want to go out in the world. They want to have a dominant position. They want to be leaders and all the rest of this, while the men don't want to do and be shit. But again, we're back to Hopi prophecy. In the time where the cobwebs will be in the sky, the women will do what the men will not. So, I guess there you have it. Tell me, Paul, how could America openly violate my human rights for over 20 plus years? Are these Americans placing votes for this social experiment? I don't know what that means. Very veiled, very generalized, very sort of victimy. You know, I don't know who's violating your human rights, uh, according to you. And if people are violating your rights for 20 years, what are you doing about it? If nothing, why are you asking me and complaining to me? This really is the He-Man Woman Haters Club. I don't know what that means. I'm far from somebody who is a woman hater. As a matter of fact, I'm probably a bit more forgiving with the majority of women than I am with the males. So if you're going to characterize me as being a hater on any level, it's way more with the men than it is the women. Um, so yeah, I don't know where we're going with that. I think you know what, you might be confused. When I talk my shit or my truth or the truth, it's on goofy bitches and hoes. It's not about women. So you're confused again. You think because you or others have a uterus that makes you a woman by default. It doesn't. See? Girl has a uterus. Girl ain't a woman. So I don't hate on women. Quite the opposite. When I meet women, all I want to do is you know what. And I gotta, you know, check that impulse potentially to find out more. But again, then we're back to looping because if I already found out that this is a woman, then of course I'm going to be into attraction if attraction is there because that has a certain criteria, right? I can't say there's bitches and hoes and there's women and then I want to jump in bed before finding out they're a woman. No, once I find out they're a woman, I want to jump in bed. I'm not looking to hate. I'm looking to love, sister. So I don't know where you get that from. What you're talking about, probably that you're confused about, is me talking truth about goofy bitches and hoes that don't know how to be women, just like I talk about goofy bozos who don't know how to be men. And I'm way often more times talking about men than I am women because I am a man, and it applies more for me to be talking about men, other men who I experience with, than to be potentially telling women what they should be and not be. Because if I have a woman or women in my life, then, you know, I'm not interested in all that. I could tell a difference though, just like I could tell a difference between an inauthentic corporate beta male and an actual man. Same thing on the other side with females. And you're not going to argue that when I come on here, that the majority of my barbs, if you will, are directed toward males. Even just yesterday, Nacho Queefer and John Spazio. You didn't hear me bringing up any females or any women. Matter of fact, the last, I don't even know how long, till somebody comes into my awareness doing a certain specific behavior, you almost never hear me talking down on or talking about women at all. So you actually hear me calling other men goofy bitches and hoes because they act like it constantly. So that's not an accurate statement. This is far from a He-Man woman haters club. I love women when we verify the difference between a woman and a goofy bitch and a hoe. And for the goofy bitches and hoe, well, it's proper instruction motivates people. So I'm here to pimp. Why would I hate? I'm getting them right. That's still an aspect of love, even if it's tough love. What would I look like hating on women, bitches, or hoes? The same thing on the other side with males. I don't hate on them either. I'm loving them through love they don't like. They hate my love, and because my love comes with truth and straightforward experience. There's no sugar on it. It's a Little Rascals reference. I'm aware of what it is. Thank you for trying to enlighten me when I'm a student of media and comedy, and you should know that. I'm well aware of the Little Rascals original. We grew up on that, at least part time. So thank you for enlightening me. Questions, comments, concerns? How do these chat slaves not understand what is being spoke about? Paul speaks very clearly. It doesn't matter how clearly I speak. Most people have not done self-mastery work to be able to look at truth beyond how they feel about it. So when you talk something that you've experienced, they immediately start identifying a feeling and talking about the feeling they're having, not about the facts of what's going on. So I could speak as clear, as the bright blue sky out there right now, and it's not going to make a difference because other folks are hearing and feeling something different than what I'm speaking to. And they're speaking to what they're hearing and feeling. That's the perception deception game. That's what leads to a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication. That's what leads to a lot of alone time for a lot of beings as well, whether they're aware of it or not, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Right? It'll get you right if you let it be. It'll get you left if you let it be. Looking good, Paul. Greetings, y'all. Well, how are you, Kellyanne? Trust me, I'm not complaining. I've put in the work, spoke to my local police force, called lawyers, and even my local congressman. Yet somehow I'm still finding it hard to find justice. You're not finding justice. You're calling your mommies and daddies and asking them to find it for you. So you're delusional again. You're in denial again. That's why I'm here. Uncle Paulie, he's here. Your favorite, non-favorite stepdaddy, the one you love to hate. So you are complaining right now while you're saying you're not. You haven't put in the work. You've called up a bunch of people to do the work for you to get you justice because you won't file the damn paperwork and take people to court, which is the mechanism in this world at this time and in this system to get remedy and resolution. So notice how you just typed out 5 fucking lines and none of that has anything to do with what I'm doing, but you're here. You notice that I don't do any of that and don't consider that work. Hello? You never hear me or see me come on here and say, I called congressmen. I called lawyers. First of all, if I do that, that's like one aspect of the rest of what I'm going to do. I'm going to pursue justice and get it one way or the other, physically or metaphysically. The call to them is just to let them know I'm on their ass. It's not to ask them to do my work for me. So you're confused again. And you're claiming it's exactly something different than what it is, as always with you folks. Okay? So you didn't put in the work. Don't say you did. Called a bunch of other people to complain to them. Don't say you're not complaining about what their inferiors or fellow workers and agents are doing and not doing. But you didn't do the main thing, which was file the damn claim and take them to court and hold them liable. Okay, so I'm not interested in why you're not finding justice. You're not finding it because you're not looking in the right places, or you've looked in the right place, found it, and won't do the right thing with it. Okay? That's why you have a shitty 20-year journey that hasn't amounted to dog shit. That's why I'm 3 to 5 years into this and got nothing but justice all around me constantly, no matter if they lock me up for 2 days on end or not. I keep getting dismissals and now I'm suing them. The fuck are you talking about? Why are we having a completely different experience right now? Because we're completely different people in the way that we think, feel, live, act, and the results we get. And you are fucking complaining for the 4th time because your first line was, Paul, if we're doing this, I don't know who we is. Why do I find so much injustice? You're complaining to me. I didn't ask you if you had injustice in your life. That's the Decastrated show. That's Brian from No Impact Flicks. They open panels to bring the pathetic, embarrassing public up so they can cry and complain about how they never find justice. And you know what I find is true about the majority of them? The same thing I found that was true about me. They're weak. Let's go over the list again. They don't like this list, but it's damn fucking true. They're weak / cowardly, lazy, procrastinating, horrible communicators, can't write worth a damn. When they open their mouth, they can't put 5 motherfucking words together in a sentence. Get it? Got it? Good. Stop acting and saying that it's something other than what the fuck it is 95% of the time. You're not fooling anyone, not even yourself. And Brian and Chile and the rest of them are only using bitches like you. They don't respect you. They don't like you. They wouldn't fucking throw you a life preserver in the middle of the ocean if it meant that they would have to sacrifice something. They just want to watch you bitch and whine and complain and do sorcery and mockery for their masters. They're not even aware they're working for Masons. That's the thing. Brian and Chili and the rest of them aren't even aware they're indirectly working for the Dark Masons and the Luciferians, because they have no actions. They have no results. They're not a threat to anyone. They're completely cucked and broken in spirit, and their whole audience reflects them. And they only bring them up to feel like they're all men of the people. They're not. The only way they're men of the people is because they're just like the majority of the public. The list I just gave you. They're definitely not men for the people. So great. We're men of the people. We're Joe Public. We vote. We pay a slave tax. We say we're doing something and a part of something, but the groundwork shows something completely different. The record shows something completely different. But come on up and tell us how no one gets justice so we can whine and cry and be pathetic while your masters laugh and giggle at you. I'd be laughing and giggling if I didn't find it to be so embarrassing and pathetic and wasn't sitting next to these motherfuckers at one point wondering why we're not getting to something. So I just went off to get it on my own. See how that works? File the claim myself. Roger that. See how easy that was? See how fucking straightforward, direct, and easy that was? Go buy a cry fold from Decastrated when you get a chance. It will not help you out at court like it didn't help him. If you show up there like a bitch and can't talk, can't raise your fucking voice like you're a man. You got no fucking sack between your legs. You had no problem out on the street talking shit over a cop's shoulder when you were on camera with 1,000 live viewers, when there was nobody watching, but everyone was watching, and you were at that court, and you didn't have your little phone in your hand. Oh, we saw the bitch come right up out of you. So don't even think about it if you ain't going to go in there and hold fucking court. Don't even think about it if you ain't going to go in there and practice being a king on your land. Don't even think about it if you think you're going to go in there and try to use love because it's all you need. They don't give a fuck. They want to know who and what you are, what you're about, what you serve, and they want you to put on a motherfucking performance, just like these broadcasters want from us, these audience members. They can't figure that out either. Can't figure out how to court at court. Can't figure out how to court with a woman / bitch. I'm going to trigger. Can't figure out how to do a damn broadcast that's engaging, inspiring, entertaining, and straight from the fucking heart. Everything's put on, lukewarm, watered down, half-ass. You are who you are in anything you do and everything you do. But we're going to deny that reality because they don't like that. Time to change the diaper. They don't like that. Doesn't feel good, but it's still true and real. And it's based in inherent hierarchical power and value systems. And nothing but observation and application and results is going to change what we don't like. Hello. I love this motherfucker. Thank you, sir. But it's not about me. You love the truth just like I do. Don't make it about me and you. That's the low level shit. Oh, I love you. I love you. I am you. I go beyond I love you. I may have a care for you. You have a care for me. I am you on the highest level and on the lowest level, quite frankly. I'm in this body. You're in that body, but the same shit applies to all of us, doesn't it? So let's go beyond. I love this motherfucker. I love you. I love you. No, I am you. What the fuck are we going to do next? As a unit, as a unified field, as a unified consciousness and awareness under unified law and universal law. Right? That's what we're doing here. So don't make it about me and you. Let's go above and beyond that. That's cool for them. We're at a different standard here. Right? There you go. I love this motherfucker. All right. Have it your way. Man's entitled to his opinion. Again, let's be clear. If you love me, you only love me because of who I am and what I do. And the same is true back the other way. It ain't because I'm so cute and nice and kind and polite and pretty. Because I have so much money. Because I'm so funny. Right? So let's get on it. Let's realize, let's actualize, let's move with an understanding and a purpose, right? Yepers. We are the conscious that is being in the damn present moment, right? Yeah. That whole present moment thing has been soiled by the unnamed one. Because, and a lot of other folks, I won't pick on him, but a lot of folks in this new agey non-unity like to use this idea of present moment to escape accountability, responsibility for the past and the future. You can say past and future doesn't exist, but is that really true when you folks live with flashes of the past and the future in your mind all day, every day? Let's get really real with ourselves and each other. The past does exist on some level. The future does exist on some level. And just saying there's only the present moment isn't an ability to abdicate responsibility and accountability for what you've already done and what you've yet to do. So when you meet people who try to say, oh, there is the present moment, what the fuck have you done with the last 7 years of your present moments? Can we see what the results show? Right. So cut the games. Imagine a motherfucker sitting at harvest season going, all we have is the present moment. What did you grow? What are we going to eat? Buy the fruits. You will know them. Nothing? Great. Then you starve to death and you don't get to exist. All we have is the present moment. As if the present moment isn't a conglomeration of all the fucking past moments you've already lived. Hello. As if the present moment doesn't potentially set you up for all future present moments. It's called context and nuance, and the majority of tards aren't that great with it, it seems. Actualize. Don't know if 95% of humanity knows what it is. They don't. It's not don't know. They don't conclusively. Historically. That's been proven. We don't have to be fake humble here. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter if people don't like it when we speak it, right? Still going to remain true. So from the beginning of time till the end of time, that was the story of the Christed being in Scripture. Actualization and realization in truth and faith and a long game journey, experience. And then there was everybody else. And that's why they're not a part of the story, other than a passing, fleeting description. Same thing with everyone else in the scripture, right? You only get recognized in this realm on paper, right, as a legacy when you walk in trust, equity, and faith and pursue greatness. If you're not, then no one cares. See? Because ultimately, and then they victim, no one cares. No one cares because you don't care. See how that works? No one gave a fuck about me and what I was doing, what I didn't give a fuck about me and myself and what I was doing. Hello, that makes sense. Soon as I started to really care about myself and life and the truth and doing the next right thing and standing for something, a whole bunch of people showed up to care about me and what I was doing. That makes sense. So for all the folks running around who like to say, no one cares about me and what I'm doing, no one's doing this, because you, whether you realize it or not, don't translate as somebody who cares about yourself and your life and what you're doing. We're indirectly speaking of the unnamed one, but are we really? Because this applies to all of us. See? You can't run from self without running into self. You can't talk about another self without describing self. Hey, I took 850K and turned it into 550 million for those who have goodwill and aligned vision. Love what I do, but it comes with time and trust. Do right by. I don't believe you. I don't believe that for 3 seconds. That you took 850K and turned it into 550 million. Well, I'm going to go full Talcott here like you did 2 weeks ago. If that's the case, you could spare a couple million to build a community here, no? With me and others? I would think. Community you may want to be a part of. So while I could say I don't believe you, because I've heard a lot of grandiose claims on here that have not been substantiated, if that's the case, you're sitting pretty. You got the kind of resources where you could really make something happen here. I've had other folks reach out to me and go, Paulie, we got about $5 to $10 million and we want to put down a couple $100,000 for you and with you. And I go, I can't do that because you already told me you're not going to do this, 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 and this. You expect this, this, and this, and I'm not going to make those kind of agreements. And that's when they got all bitched up and lukewarm, right? because I asked them, I go, how is it you motherfuckers have way more than the majority of other folks, including me, but don't have the fucking balls to just put some of it on a risk to create the rest of your life, right? I don't get it. I don't get, I've risked it all over and over again in order to create something with no potential hope of outcome, right? Just on pure faith. These are things that once you have that, you could do that. And then again, you got to have the rest of the story intact, right? Because it ain't about the money, not money. You got to have the whole picture. But I'm always curious about that. Like, how, first of all, when is enough enough? How much do you need for a lifetime? Go ask my father the same question. And at what point do you go, okay, we have 2, 3, 4, 500,000, a million, whatever it is. Let's take like 1% of the rest or 10% of the rest and actually build a fucking reality here different from the slavery we've been experiencing this whole time. I just don't get it. But again, I don't fixate on it. I don't dwell on it because I just figure whatever the universe has meant for me is going to come through one way or the other. And then I will work within those means. But if I was to think about it, I would be shocked and appalled at how many folks have over $1 million or a couple $1 million, could be completely out of the game debt free with a couple 100,000. That leaves 750,000 left to buy a whole town and start a community and actually like uphold the law, exercise rights, be a fucking headline news story. Like, do you not want to play here? Are we not playing, or are we just surviving? We just existing. We just going along to get along. I don't get it. I really don't. I'm in that mode now. I don't even have nothing like that. For people who have it all like that in and of the world, I don't understand why they're not playing more and experimenting more and jumping out the window more. Are you that fucking lukewarm and boring and fence riding? Are you that fucking stuck to the non-money? Do you not see that the only reason that we get money here is to like put it back out to create a life? To work on systems and circumstances and co-creation and networking? What is everyone hanging on for and attaching for and clutching onto beyond what's necessary? Never understand that. I understand it. I'll never understand why folks won't see it that way and practice moving out of that when it's so detrimental for self and it's so lacking an opportunity for others with others. You know, I literally have had multiple people. They go, "We don't know what to do." I go, "You just told me you have $2 to $5 or more $1 million. But yeah, but my girlfriend and my wife and I got a job." I go, "Are you really this fucking?" I don't get it. I go, it's fascinating. And most of these people are people who slipped in shit, proverbially, right? Or metaphorically. They slip in shit, come up with gold, and they go, "We don't know what to do with it." And then they call me. And then when I tell them what's obvious that they already know, they go, "Well," I go, "Okay, hang on to your cash that's backed by nothing. Just hang on to it. Do nothing with it. Don't explore. Don't experiment. Don't create anything. And then when it all comes toppling down, what was the point?" They don't even see how God gives them these large chunks of cash, and then they somehow find me to create something. And then they wonder why I won't take the money from them. And that's the craziest thing I experienced. When people begged me to take money from them, but wouldn't be a part of it. Like, I go, "What is this?" I go, "Is this some kind of test for me on morality or spirituality? Or is this me talking what I just said, where they're just showing up to hand me big chunks of cash, but won't create anything?" They go, "Well, we'll give it to you. We'll give you 100 or 200,000. Just, promise me that you'll keep this or have this for me, if any." And I go, "Why are you doing this? Why are you opening this door?" It's almost like you want me to rob you or disappoint you instead of just be a part of co-creating something. I can't. What, you know what it is that I've learned a while back that I never just adhered to because it's just not me. I'm not Mr. Sales Guy. I can be, but at my heart, it's just not me. But people want to be swindled. They want to be sold something, right? This is like the art of sales 101. If I was to come here with a shitty mug and a bath mat, I'd be a millionaire at this point because people just want something to buy. They want to give you something for whatever you're doing and then have something back. They want to create some like indirect relationship through the money instead of create a fucking livelihood for everybody. And it's just not me. Right? I go, why don't we all just get together and build a fucking society and a culture and a community for ourselves and each other? Why is everyone using this money to try to buy situations and circumstances with each other? Like, why are you testing and challenging you and me instead of just doing the work and what makes sense? And you know what the bottom line is? Beyond this beyond the psychology of people want to be sold something and even scammed or swindled, they just don't have the fucking balls and the dedication and commitment to say, I'm going to put up $1 million, Paulie boy. We're going to buy this town in Tennessee for like 300,000 with 50 buildings already, and we're going to take the rest of it and populate it and create services and products and at least a jumpstart, right? They just can't do it. They want me to do it all. And then when I can't do it all, they want to say, well, did you save me something? And what I asked, and then like hope that I didn't so they can write me off as another scumbag, lowlife, who sold them and swindled them on something. Instead of just doing what the fuck makes sense. They go, we don't like it. We don't want to live it. And I go, why don't you want to be a part of it then? Why do you want to give me the money and then open the door to test and challenge for you to be disappointed? Instead of just work all together to create what we all need anyway. But again, that's where you get into certain seminars they'll do where they'll teach you the art of sales and how to become a millionaire overnight because you understand the majority of the public psychology and sub-psychology. And it just, if you're in the game of getting more money without caring about how you get it and what you have to do and not do to get it, then it's a no-brainer. That's why I say to folks, just be lucky and thankful and grateful that I never went to decide, and probably never will, to grift and swindle and lie and cheat or just obfuscate to get whatever I believe I want. Because I'd be very good at it, right? But I wouldn't like myself as much, and I wouldn't have as much appreciation for the long game journey and process. I know that about myself. Old racially ambiguous looking ass. I don't know what that means. I'm not interested. It's the same thing every day. You guys are corny. You're not clever, and you're purposely trying to be annoying. So you're gone. If you want to get up here and talk, you can get up here and talk. A lot of broken children have nowhere else to be and nothing else to do. Common sense is not common. I'll accept that. Yeah, there was about 2 or 3 people with large amounts of currency who we could never do anything together because I wouldn't bullshit them and take something and make promises I couldn't keep. And then I went the next level and told them, why don't you stop being a bitch and do the next right thing? And then they go, you know what, Paulie, boy, we think we're done with you. Go, okay, whatever. Fuck yourself. You get to respect me forever because I was one of the few who didn't use you for money and didn't lie to you to get it and wouldn't even accept it without certain conditions and standards for you. See? So I at least get to say, hey, I have some integrity. There's some people running around out there who know I'm not a grifting, lying, swindling piece of garbage like the majority of the rest of them. That feels good to me. I like that. All right, let's go. Wobbly boost is completely shot out of a cannon. Take a look. We run a horse farm in Fauquier County. We're up in Fauquier County, Northern VA. We employ a handful of people, but I could do better. Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. I'm guy number 1 for trust issues for obvious reasons. The other side of things is like you got to put yourself out there sometimes, see what comes back, and work with other people who are in alignment to create something here. Or just live right. Fauquier County. Right, you're doing it again. See, this is why I don't like you people, and this is why they're going to say, Paul, you're doing it again. This guy just said he had $500 million, right? But I don't like you or respect you because you're not getting what I'm saying and the sentiment and the energy and where it's going. I'm not interested in you and your fiduciary, accent on the douche, clients and all the rest of them. It all amounts to nothing at the end of the day. You can tell me about returns fiscally. You don't have any return on quality of life or freedom. So again, I'm not, I could be, Go ask Mr. Corporate Beta Male RT, who's still talking about me to this day in other chat boxes. I could be a great salesman. I could run businesses. I could be Fortune 500. I have the intelligence and then some to do all that. It's not where my heart's at. My heart is at quality of life and freedom, inspiration, empowerment, co-creation. So why are you talking to me about what you do with all your other buddies and clients for fiduciary responsibilities while you're all enslaved and being genocided? There's your return. Don't you get it? Your return with me is not monetary. You don't give me 200,000 because I'm going to give you back 230. I can do that on my own. Makes no sense. I'm not asking you for cash to return you cash. I'm saying put the cash up to create a quality of life and freedom for all of us. If you don't want that, go away. I don't give a fuck how much you have or what you make with your fiduciary clients and your returns. It's laughable to me. A guy who readily says, I have all the resources but have no talents and abilities. Right. That's my point. You're not free. You have little talent and ability, and you want to talk to me about fiscal returns. Go play the damn stock market. Go buy a couple kilos. Go buy 10 pounds of reefer. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. That's not the game I'm in. And if I was going to get in that game or was in that game away from here, it wouldn't require anyone else. Try explaining reality to these people. Try explaining the nuances and context and aspects of reality and self and why it matters and why what they think matters doesn't matter beyond a certain point. Like Wes Watson and all of them, he's bragging about making $10 million a month and being a kept pet bitch ass slave with little to no talent and ability and no freedom. Great. Enjoy. And they can't figure out not Wes Watson, but the others can't figure out why they're even here to begin with. Your spirit didn't call you to be here today and many other days because you need fiscal returns with me. Your spirit's calling you to someone like me so we can actually create something and move forward on the ground and make a fucking difference in our own lives and each other's and offer opportunities to other people and ourselves. If you're not going to do that and be that and don't want it, just go away. I'm not impressed with your life and lifestyle. You guys think you guys think nobody's ever met anybody who has anything and is offering something. Go to Slackcots where he's desperate for some kind of coin to live a charmed lifestyle. I'm not desperate for anything. I'm open and inspired and motivated to co-create for certain principles and values and experiences. For others who don't want that or don't see the value and power in that, you'd probably just stay away from me. Because at some point, I'm going to call you out. Money can't unlame you. Money can't unslave you. Get it through your head. And I've had to give this talk and this speech to like 10 people privately on the phone who don't talk to me anymore because they thought that because they had money that I gave a fuck. I don't. You don't impress me. Stop being a fucking slave with all your money. That'll impress me. Smug, wealthy slaves. Listen, man, wealthy starts on the inside and extends outward. If you got $500 million and you ain't free and empowered and inspired, you're still a broke bitch. You got money in your pocket, but you're still a broke bitch in spirit. See? I was rich before I had anything on here. I was rich from a tent. That starts with mind, emotions, body, and spirit, right? That's the whole point. I met tons of folks who are rich in the pockets, but broke in spirit. I don't want them around me, and I don't want them a part of what I'm doing. And they can't figure out why no matter how much they peel off, it doesn't move me. Because one follows the other, not the other way around. They were too busy going to Tony Montana's school of etiquette First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the respect. They forgot that Paulie teaches his own school of etiquette. First you get the empowerment, then you get the respect, then the money shows up, or not. We're living life backward, it seems. Why are you telling me this? I'm confused. You're squawking and yapping to get my attention, but you're not putting anything up. What's the point? You're making this all about you. The money does rule you because you're using money to become the center of attention, and I'm allowing it to happen. I'm not asking you for anything, but you're now in here telling us how much money you have, telling us you have it to change people's lives. Why are you telling me this? Just start changing people's lives in here right now. Let's go. Don't talk it, walk it. This is obviously a veiled attempt to get me or others to beg you for something. And it's just not, it's just annoying. Okay? So no one asked you. No one's interested. If you're really about what you say you're about, you'd walk it, you wouldn't talk it. And you haven't done anything yet. So why would I or anyone else listen or believe you? Okay, there you go. Thank you. You have to obviously consider how this looks from my and everyone else's perspective, right? You just came into a chat box and said you have $550 million, and you keep going and going and going. And the last thing you said was the money just chases you. You don't know what to do with all of it, and you only have it to change people's lives. Why are you telling us that? You could very easily prove that right now with everyone in here. You could literally give $1,000 to everyone in here right now, and it wouldn't faze you. But you're going to keep talking about what you're not doing and don't have conceptually? Bizarre. Foolishness, nonsense, waste of our fucking time, energy, and attention. It's going nowhere. I'm not asking. I don't want to hear any more about it. There's no need to talk money, non-money with anybody. You want to contribute and support, there's avenues up there to do that in the form of non-taxable events, gifting. If you're not going to do that, why are you talking about what you have and don't have around here? No one asked and no one cares. Sure, you're a hit at parties. Giving doesn't change. Showing how to do it is key. More bullshit excuses. You just said you have money to change people's lives. Now you're not going to give any of it. You're just going to teach everyone else how to do it. So you're going to run some pyramid scheme, mommy, where I have to come to your class and pay $20 a month so you can teach me how to get $550 million. Please go fuck yourself. I'm about to throw you out of here, Mr. 550 millionaire. You're obnoxious. Absolutely obnoxious and insufferable already. I don't know what that means. So people can be inspired to do the same for others. I don't know what that means. We're not asking. No one's asking. You keep going. We're not asking. We didn't ask you. We don't believe you. You keep going. Oh, man. Let's go to the judge, non-judge. Gavel gazing.
You're free to stay if you want to.
Oh no, I'm leaving. I'm trying to. I don't know how to work this. I'm leaving.
You've been to court though. You've been to court, so you know how it works.
I've never been on this. What are you talking about? I've never ever had it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sitting here telling you I've never had got these. I don't know what to.
These tickets were made. The allegations were made on 9/8/2023 at 10 a.m. in the city of Detroit at 20083 Graydale Avenue. That's a dog restraint, failure to vaccinate, and no dog license. You also have a failure to yield right away. You owe $210 on a civil infraction. Riding a moped on the sidewalk, $168. Defective brakes, $294. You also have an improper display of plate, $180. We're not even discussing these tickets because these tickets are long
been in default. I'm just giving you what's all on your record. You have an expired plate, 228, a no proof of insurance of 288. That 288 is blocking him from getting a driver's license.
That's what I'm saying. I have been getting things from IRS saying that some people have been using my identity, but I don't drive, sir. But we'll take care of it after this, but I drive. All of these came from one thing that
if you could just stop talking.
You were letting me talk. I've
already heard you. So you got to understand how this works, Mr. Lee. It's a process and a procedure. Now, what I told you was the allegations that were made against you, okay? And I ran those down for you. You didn't let me finish the other stuff, but I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm done with that. Now, you indicated to me that there's a potential that you didn't do this stuff, that you had somebody using your name and you have IRS paperwork.
The fucking tar just tried to say that I'm low consciousness like they all do, right? This is why I don't like, even if you have the this is why I don't like a lot of you wealthy white scum in pockets, because you're arrogant and ignorant and you project constantly. You're delusional. Your money's made you delusional. So you just said, I don't understand communication, and the audience just burst out laughing because I'm like Mr. Communications here, if you haven't noticed. You then dropped a Freudian slip and said, Paul doesn't know the basics of pushing manipulation, and they caught it. I wasn't even going to say anything, but they caught it because they've got the master class at Paul Unslaved University of how to spot deception, manipulation, sub-psychology, how to do the profile, right? They've gotten it for so long with so many people that it's like this now. They just point out how you just reveal yourselves constantly. So you're right. Unlike you, I don't know the basics, even though I do, because at one time I was in that game. Wasn't very prosperous for me. But you've done well with pushing manipulation and deception. I'm not interested. So thank you for revealing who and what you are once again. Thank you for projecting onto me in ignorance and arrogance and doing it all without even being coherent verbally in the chat or grammatically. It's beyond hilarious and fascinating. You're the dunce. Your money's not buying you any credibility here. We don't believe you have the money because we just don't believe people online who say shit like you. Queen Sleazen says he's a billionaire too. What does it mean? So until you prove what you're saying, we're not going to listen to you. You have no credibility, and you're trying to use your money to upstage me and cast doubt on me and claim to be more conscious and aware and communicative than me, but you're doing it all from a chat box, you pathetic, weak loser failure, when there's been a link down there for the last fucking hour and a half. More reason we're not buying it. You're most likely an alternate account trying to make me look a certain way by pointing out money and hanging a carrot and getting me to show that I'm money hungry or all the rest of it. You guys aren't that fucking slick. You're not that clever. And if you're not that, then it's very easy to prove it all. And the fact that you're not doing that makes me believe it's just another tarred loser failure stalker on an alternate account trying to get me to look a certain way. Beyond pathetic.
Stuff like that. Well, what that's called your defense. So what we have to do is we have to give the officer an opportunity to come in here and tell his side, and then you come in here and tell your side. And now is not the time to do that. But based on what you just told me, I can set you a trial date. I can also get you an appointed attorney if you need to. What would you like to do?
I would like an appointed attorney, because this is the first time I knew of these things. That's all I'm saying. So that was I had a clean record. I was just expunged. I had a clean record.
He just keeps on talking. You just keep on talking. You got diarrhea of the mouth.
You just asked me, sir. You just asked me. I didn't
ask you. I'm gonna ask you is, what do you want to do? Do you want a trial date? You go into all this about I got my record expunged, so all of this. I mean, we're not even there. We're not even talking about that.
I'm surprised of all of these things you're reading off. That's all I'm saying. I'll tell you this.
I'll tell you this. Sometimes people do get tickets in other people's names and do that. Sometimes that does happen. A lot of times is that person's tickets, they forgot about them. I don't know what the case is in your case, Mr. Lee. I just don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't make the allegation. All right? I'm just here to give you a fair day in court, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I need a good phone number from you, please. 8578. What I need you to do, I'm gonna mark the file, need an appointed attorney. I'm gonna set a pretrial date of January 31st, 2025 at 8:30. I'm also gonna keep it on trial on February 28th, 2025 at 9 a.m. You need to answer the calls you don't recognize. One of those calls should be that appointed attorney. If you don't hear from that appointed attorney by January 31st, we're going to appoint one to you on the spot. We'll get one in here right on that day if you don't have an attorney, so we can keep this thing moving. And you can put up whatever kind of defense you and your attorney come up with, all right? And I'm here to listen to it, all right?
That's January 31st at what time?
At 9 a.m. January 31st at 30. And then the February 28th at 9 a.m. Do you have any further questions, sir?
I'm scared to ask anything. You seem to get mad.
All right, you can ask. You can ask. You just don't have to go into all of your defenses and I didn't do it and I don't need to hear all that.
This is what I'm saying is that I've never heard of any, I've never gotten a ticket or nobody's ever told me I had anything. Even when they took me to jail, they never said I had any case. They told me I had one thing out of Oak Park. They said I need to go take care of it. But the rest of my record was clean. That's why I'm so surprised. But now that you're saying it's not, I do understand I got to do other things. But I'm just saying, I've never gotten any papers, anything from courts, anything from anybody. This is the first time I'm hearing all of these cases. And all my daughters are vaccines and everything. So I had that paperwork. I don't understand how that could even come up. But okay, but I'm ready now. I'll see you on the 31st, and I'm surprised. I'm totally surprised. From one laundering thing that they sent me, they saying show cause, and I was in jail. And so I'm showing here today to show cause, and then you just read off like 15 different things. And I'm like, wait a minute, where did all of this come from? So that's all it was. I'm just surprised. I have a clean record. I don't understand where it's come from. I'm not a criminal. That's it. I won't say nothing else. I'm just surprised. It's shocking.
You got it off your chest?
It's shocking. I got it, sir. I understand.
All right, so listen.
We got a slave in the chat that needs help again because they want to make obtuse generalizations without the clarity and the nuance and context. Are you not drawn to power and control? And feel free to like qualify what type of power and control. Are you not? Because if you're not, I'm going to say there's something wrong with you. You're not drawn to empowerment, inspiration, self-control. See, you just made a statement, right? And this is to pad most likely your loser failure lifestyle because you like to see things in black and white. And then of course you're the most noble in the story, right? Everyone's the most noble in the story they tell about themselves and everyone else, right? So is it only corrupt people that are drawn to control and power, or do enlightened people get drawn to control and power? Just the opposite side of a dualistic dynamic because we live in a dualistic universe. Sun and moon, night and dark, masculine, feminine. Competent, capable people are drawn to control and power as well. If nothing else, self-control and self-empowerment, self-actualization. So is it possible that you're not drawn to that or won't move into true self-control and empowerment? So you want to make excuses that anyone who has control and power has to be corrupt? Is it possible you're just lazy, lukewarm, weak, cowardly, incompetent, and incapable? Do you see how that works? How I reverse engineer the statement to point out what's most likely happening? I don't know for sure. What's most likely happening in the individual, what they want it to be? See? That's a very Talcottian statement. Corrupt people are drawn to control and power because he doesn't have any. Self-control, control of his life or in the world, and he's definitely not empowered. So then everyone else who has that has to be corrupt. Just like everyone else who has money, non-money, has to be corrupt. Is it possible that the most competent, capable, trustworthy, and faithful people are drawn to self-empowerment and self-control, and that makes them money? Some way, somehow, in how they direct that? So, cut the games. If I'm wrong, come up here and substantiate it, or feel free to tell me with your Twitter fingers in the chat box. I'd say 95% chance I'm on the money. Because when I see a absolute generalization like that, it communicates something about what you believe about yourself and by proxy about everyone else, whether it's true or not. So stop the painting with a broad brush because you want to make excuses and justifications for why you don't have certain things in life and aren't going to get it. And everyone else who has gotten it or is experiencing it must be bad. Because you good, everyone bad, right? If you ask Slackcott and everyone else, they're telling that same story about themselves and everyone else. Then there's reality. See? So we ain't getting 1K each in the chat. I wouldn't count on it, especially since I timed him out. And he's most likely full of shit. And it doesn't matter if he has 550 million. I'm not going to co-create with or suck the feet of or be led by the nose by some loser failure who I don't respect and won't even come up and show themselves. Wants to play manipulative games from a chat box? No, not interested. I'm only in this for what I'm meant for, not $1 more or $1 less. And that can't be determined by him or anyone else. It's determined by the cause and effect here in truth, honorability, trust, equity, faith. I didn't do it in a tent with 20 grand in the bank. I'm definitely not going to do it now. So maybe you folks can hope that things will get really bad off sometime in the future. I'll get real needy and desperate, and somehow I'll waver on my principles and values to entertain you and your fucking nonsense. But not today. My soul's not for sale. My broadcast is not for sale. My lifestyle is not for sale. My perspective and self-respect and integrity is not for sale. Do you not see him getting off and talking over this guy? He's getting off on the fact that you all want to walk into court and not know who and what you are, make a whole bunch of claims, bullshit and pretend, and he's going to set you straight. The same thing I get off on, as you want to put it, if you want to put it that way. We love the game. He loves the game. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he loves the game, and he's going to play it. If you love the game as much as that administrator and you were a player like he was, you'd get results and you'd stop bitching and complaining and projecting onto him and everyone else. But you ain't and you're not, so you will. So you can cope. You don't see him getting off on talking over this guy? Yeah, he's a man and he's going to establish his command of respect and some level of dominance. That's part of the game. It's simulated warfare. Are you going to play or not? All you have to do is establish status and standing and interest in the matter, trust, equity, and faith, and put yourself on record, and he's going to shut the fuck up. I've done it over and over again. But you were too busy bitching and complaining and projecting onto the head player of the room because the rest of you won't play. So the administrator has to take control and use the power he has to direct the court and move it forward. Because you won't. And you don't make any fucking sense. And you don't know who and what you are and what you're not. Whose fault and problem is that? It doesn't even matter what you think and feel about it. The more you keep complaining and voicing what you think and feel about it, the less solutions get created. The less understanding is had. The less application is engaged in. The less the dynamic is changed. The same way with me on this panel. You got a list of fucking beta slaves who got snot up their nose like the freak who's aptly named, who go, Paulie just bans us for no reason. He's so mean on panel. Look at him. He's so corrupt. He gets off on power and control. Yeah, and that's why I'm an interesting, entertaining person and have some level of results in my life. It's why certain women respect me and value me and are intrigued by me. It's why I like myself and am entertained by me and respect me. Stop being upset at what you don't have and stop complaining about what I do have. Just focus on getting it and being it and having it. But I'm a meanie and a bully for pointing out the fucking obvious. And he's got the balls in a chat earlier today to talk about me being scared of pussy my own age. You're off it again. There's no pussy getting anywhere near you. We could tell just by listening to you over a microphone. It's funny, the Jesus freaks who are so holy just have no problem spinning around one day, various moments when it's convenient for them, and talking about who I love and the age of the person that I share love with, and saying I'm scared of pussy my own age. Is it possible that the majority of pussy my own age has distorted value systems and perspectives? We're getting up there in age, so I'm sure it'll level out at some point. Is it possible the majority of younger women have no meaning and purpose, discipline, discernment in themselves and in their life, and me interacting with them is like constantly doing this broadcast at home, dealing with the majority of broken children who I have to like educate and get right? So it's just a lot of hassle for me. It just tends to be a bit more like respectful and meaningful and aligned when I'm, as you put it, co-creating with pussy of an older age. I guess the godly, righteous, religious Jesus freaks forgot that there was a person behind the pussy when it was convenient for them to objectify the women and to do ageism, just to project onto me and try to demean me and challenge my masculinity. Great stuff. Showed yourselves again for the hypocrites you are. Love it. I'm such a bad person because I don't try to prey on or manipulate younger women to fuck me and deal with me. I'd rather co-create with an older woman who's more in alignment with my principles and values. Oh, that makes me such a bad, fucked up person, doesn't it? It's hard. Let's move forward. We're learning here, I think. Some folks are learning. I'm
going to definitely remember Mr. Robert Lee because he's so shocked and surprised. We're going to see what happens on the 28th. I'm sure all my YouTube fans are going to be watching that too. We're going to see what happened on the 28th. All right, Mr. Lee.
Which one is the 28th? Which one is that for?
Trial day. That's when we get down to the nitty gritty about whether Mr. Lee was driving them cars up 7 Mile, all up and down 7 Mile with no license. That's the producer quarter. All right?
All right.
And I'm muted. I was just muted. Okay. 5 by 5. No good. It happens to the best of us. I only do that once every 2 years at this point. So I'm way ahead of the game. Where's my creature? My creature just made what he thought was a point down there. See, now there it is. So the slave can't figure out that rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, legal and lawful, and courting, and the rest of what I do here is not a mass event. It's not a macro event for the majority of the population. See, I also had a 22,000 subscriber channel that can't get over 30 live viewers because I was shadow banned. So get a clue. I'm actually involved in something in life on the ground that makes change and is important. Some might say, you, if you have a channel with 1.4 thousand live viewers, is because you're attempting to teach people how to get more money. Not hard to figure out who's going to have more live viewers. If I came on every day and did a whole broadcast on how to get more money, every slave and their brother and sister will show up for that. Ask them to show up for themselves and others in this country and this land with something important that means something, and they're going to end up just like you, chasing how to make more money while you claim the money chases you, but not chasing rights, freedom, principles, and spiritual faith. Get another clue. I'd have 2,000 live viewers here right now, like David Rodriguez, the fake patriot, who I was on the broadcast of, who doesn't do what I do, if I wasn't shadow banned. Get another clue. The last 6 months, I did 10 to 15,000 live viewers in 2 hours, and my counter never went above 150 to 200 people. The counter's bogus. In case you can't figure out what I was communicating there, dunce. So the counter's never accurate. The before and after numbers aren't accurate. The subscribers aren't accurate. The notifications don't go out. And there's a reason. Because I'm interesting and entertaining. I'm empowered and inspiring. And more importantly, I'm doing shit on the ground that matters, that if the rest of you slaves started doing, your masters would have a serious issue with, because they wouldn't be able to generate all their revenue off of you. So I'm an actual activist and change maker. There's a reason why I'm shadow banned and you're not, because you're not a threat. You don't do anything. And the majority of slaves will show up in live numbers by the thousands to watch you tell them how to get more money, because they're money hungry, enslaved, pathetic cowards. So try to understand nuance and context. Try to also check the record. Right? I have a hard time, along with this audience, believing David Rodriguez, Brian from High Impact, and Chili DeCastro are more interesting, entertaining, engaging, empowered, and inspiring and active than I am. So it doesn't really make much sense why they would have 10 times the viewership. It does when you bring in the value or the variable of shadow banning and lack of notifications. It does make sense when you bring in the variable that the majority of the audience is money hungry, in the world and of it, Babylonian, pathetic, cowardly slaves. See, when you bring in those two variables, it starts to make a lot more sense why things have gone the way that it has. Okay. There's no competition there. You can't compete with somebody that you're not doing the same thing they're doing, and your money doesn't hold any weight where folks have true empowerment, value systems, and principles. That's all you have. You're still not a man. We'll go back to the Christed being in scripture if you're curious how that dynamic works. The most important person on that land, among a few other important people, about 12 of them, even one of them was a traitor, doing what needed to be done, potentially at the risk of giving the ultimate price, their life, toward a cause, wasn't as popular at the time, I'm sure, as the Babylonian nabob who decided to set up a tent and get the crowd to gather around to figure out how to sell snake oil and get more money. See? This dynamic hasn't changed. Truly empowered, inspiring people who walk in principles and values and spiritual faith, trust and equity, and uphold the law are usually not that popular. It's usually the in the world and of it Babylonian mass appeal slaves who are, because they're just like every other pathetic slave out there, doing and being nothing and making excuses. Just how it works. So you got a different breed who shows up here, folks who actually care, folks who actually want to be, if they're not already, in alignment with some level of truth. Folks who are tired of being treated like and acting like a bunch of pathetic, embarrassing slaves. That's not the majority, quite the opposite. You'd be lucky if that was 1 to 3 to 5% of this whole world's population. So it makes perfect sense to me, beyond the shadow banning, because if I wasn't shadow banned, I'd be doing 2, 3, 4, 500 live viewer broadcasts, 10 to 15,000 after the fact. We know that already. We tested it and saw the algorithm and what it looks and feels like when actual notifications are going out. And the counter was still off. So I'm glad that I could respond to your nonsense before banning you completely, because you can't figure out, do you have any skills other than bullshit? Well, you're not going to find out other than watching, waiting, and continuing to hate and project, because I just banned you completely, dumbass. Need to answer to you, you clown. Do I have any other skills? What do you think? Take a guess. Take a guess if this is my only skill and ability. Talking conscious and awareness online to loser failure haters like you who claim to have a bunch of money. You're no different than Queen Sleazen. You'll sit there and tell me about all the skills and abilities you don't have while projecting onto me that I don't have any. If you only knew.
Okay.
You know what my best skill is? Keeping bitch-ass motherfuckers up out of my life indefinitely. So they don't fuck up our situation.
All right. To come back to 31st first, all right?
Yes.
You're free to stay if you want to.
There you go. That's you.
Oh no, I'm leaving.
That's you at court, by the way. Wonder how many millions he has to take into court for some administrator to see him as a fucking man. Wonder if it's ever possible to happen. Doubtful. Wonder how many millions they got to take to the bar to get some goofy ass bitch to see him as a man. Wonder if you can ever pony up that much to ever make it happen. Doubtful. Another junior that I have to raise indirectly from afar. Another junior who wasn't raised by an actual man. All right, I'm going Fleischer and then I'm out of here. Feeling rather complete, brothers and sisters.
All right, let's roll, nerds.
Let's roll, nerds.
A couple cases from Christmas, and so I wanted to approach him the bond.
Where is he?
In custody.
Oh, they picked him up.
Yes.
Oh man.
And Judge, who is this?
Potter.
Powell.
I'm sorry, Powell. The new cases are not the ones from there.
No.
He picked up two new cases.
Yes, he picked up two new cases.
Right. Remember, this is the gentleman that we got. He got really upset because one of the lawyers didn't appear, made statements, and nothing ever happened with that. But now he's picked up two new cases.
Yeah, so it's the terroristic threat and the criminal trespass.
Have you been able to speak with him, Shreya?
Haven't. I tried calling back there. I think it's just been busy today.
If she wants to try to call right now.
You want to try to call now? You want me to ring him out?
No, how about I try to call him and then I'll pop back in or I'll message when I'm done.
Right.
That'd be
Do
good.
that, and then when you're ready, let me know.
Thanks, Judge. I'm thinking that I am going to waive a bail hearing. However, do you want to bring him out and admonish him because I can't get a straight answer on waiving a bail hearing? Or I can just request one and you can,
No, let's bring him out.
Okay. And then I did do a competency request, and since we were doing the mental health PTI, I got him released, sent him to the diversion center. It looks like that wasn't quite effective. And so if his bond stays as is, I can contact Helena to do the
Hold on. Hold on. I don't know anything about where was the trespass, where was the terroristic threat. Well, hold on. Let's do it with him out here so you can hear it.
Okay.
But I don't know anything about the new cases, and if it was at the facility where he was supposed to be, is it a good idea to have him go back?
It does look like it was at a church.
At a church?
Trinity Lutheran.
What? That sucks. It sucks.
Nice outfit, Judge.
Mr. Powell? Are you sure? It looks different.
He does.
You shaved the beard.
Yes, sir.
You look so much younger. Really? Hi, Mr. Powell. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Unfortunately, in these circumstances, we had you go to the facility at the Ed Emmett.
The jail diversion.
Right, but
I've been there before and I completed it. I've been there back in, I want to say, 2022, and from the court number 4.
and I stayed there 14 days, and they sent me to a church program, and I didn't like it. I don't believe in God. I know who created me. I don't have to believe in God because I know who created me, and I don't want to disrespect you by telling you that.
Well, let's hold on, because I don't know what happened on the new cases. So give me a second. Let me have them read out what happened on the new cases so we can see how to go forward, because I don't even know where the new cases happened.
On December 25th, officers were dispatched to a trespasser call at Trinity Lutheran Church in Harris County, Texas. Upon arrival, officers observed the defendant sitting on the steps of the church, screaming obscenities and causing a disturbance. Complaining witness, a security guard employed by the church, advised officers that the defendant came to the church asking for food, and the complaining witness informed the defendant they were not giving out food that day and directed him to 2 nearby locations instead. Defendant became belligerent. Complainant stated the defendant threatened him, stating, "I see you don't have a gun, so if we fight, I'm going to kill you." As the defendant was threatening complaining witness, defendant was moving towards him in a fighting stance, causing complainant to feel fear of imminent danger. Complainant stated he told defendant 3 times to leave the location, but defendant refused.
What would you like to do, Shreya?
Well, Judge, my understanding from speaking with Mr. Powell right now is that he's okay keeping the bail as is. And so he's waiving a bail hearing. Is that right, Mr. Powell? I just want to make sure.
But that's wrong.
Do you want to go back to the Ed Emmett place?
Yes, sir.
You want to try to see?
Medication. So I get my medication. Because
But it doesn't matter. I just want to know if you want to do that.
Yes, sir.
We can try to make it work.
Yes, sir.
Is that something you can do?
So a couple things. To do that, we would have to go through Brad Morse for the mental health, see if Brad even wants to offer that. Then I'd have to get a PR bond with the condition that he gets released there again.
Sure.
And so
Do you know how long that program is, Shreya?
So, Judge, it actually could be 10 minutes or it could be 2 weeks. It just depends on the nature of how long they decide to keep him there. It looks like this time they kept him from the 18th until Christmas. I believe he was released on the Christmas Eve. And then this case occurred Christmas morning at about 7 or 8 a.m.
Okay. So let's see if we can try to make it work. I need a little bit of time.
You know what? The devil created me, and I know that.
I don't believe that for a second.
Trespassing my creation, my creator's creation. So fuck you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Mel.
Try to see if we can make it work.
Yes.
Okay. Reach out to Brad. And if that, I think we may need something even more intensive.
You guys should start a broadcast with Queen Sleazen.
Reach out to Brad, see if there's something more intensive and longer lasting. And then I guess today's Monday, you want to set it for maybe Thursday?
This is what's so fascinating about these twisted ideologies these people are given, because even if that's the case, right? Because there's this belief, like this Gnostic, semi-Gnostic sort of belief, that the archons or the aliens created a human race. Guess what? If the archons and the aliens exist, they're still inside of a universe subject to universal law. So even if the devil created you, you still have God within you as a divine creature. There's nothing that can be created in this experience that doesn't reflect on some level the higher experience, or the chain of title, if you will. So it doesn't even matter. Logic is flawed if we can understand the reflectivity and holographic nature of this universe. So great. The devil and the archons created me. They're still inside of a universe subject to certain order and law and mathematics and physics. And by virtue and proxy of that means I get to choose to be whatever I want to or am meant to be under that law. See, just like I'll give you, here's how the tards, like this is what Jesus used to have to do, talk in parable so a tard can figure it out. It's like saying, my father was a corrupt, narcissistic, money-hungry piece of shit who was a coward and wouldn't do what's true and what's right if his life depended on it, because it does and he hasn't. So that means I'm that. Even if a devil of sorts created me and continued with its devilish ways, does not absolve me or prevent me from aligning with creation and life on life's terms. See, we always have choice here. So it doesn't matter who or what created us ultimately. It doesn't even matter where we come through in this world. We're still subject to the reflectivity of the supernatural holographic experience. And there's choice in that, and apprehension, and growth, and application, and change and different results. So let's get a fucking clue, all the hell realmers who want to make excuses and justifications for why we all have a dark side, and you won't understand that or direct that, but want to be taken over by it, and not use your conscience or the lighter side of the force, right? They can both work together if you let it be to some degree. They can tear each other apart from the middle if you let it be, it would seem to me. So with that said, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Back tomorrow, somewhere between 12 and 5 MDT, whatever that is, somewhere in the middle of the map, America style. All people, here I got a feeling, I didn't even read beyond all people. I got a feeling we're going to have a schizo tard here. All people seen on camera, actors playing characters for entertainment purposes, only. We do not give legal or medical advice. Oh, I see. You're doing the thing where, because you can't figure out what I'm doing in the description when I put that there. Bless your heart. So yeah, you got me. You pointed out what I put in the description, which is that all people seen on camera here are potentially characters, and are basically subject to the whims of an entertainment broadcast, meaning that there's limited liability for statements made in truth that could be perceived as entertainment based. You caught me. You're on to me. I'm a dark mason. And that's why I put in the description, all people on camera are characters, because that's revelation of method. In order for me to humiliate you and do mockery and blasphemy and get you to all choose into it, I have to reveal my method to you. You caught me. Man, what would I do if it wasn't for people like you who are constantly exposing me and revealing my devilish ways? What a dumbass. You're so fucking stupid that it wouldn't matter if they told you they were demonic and then pretended to be your friend. You would go with it. It wouldn't matter if they told you they were demonic and then did good works and what was true and what's right. You would just, it's whatever you want it to be, right? Like as if it matters anything I put in the description based on what I'm saying and how it applies. Does that change? If I'm speaking shit that resonates and is in alignment with truth that everyone here gets, no matter what the proviso is and what I say before or after or how I phrase it, does it change it? Is what I'm asking. Beyond fascinating. It could literally look at the devil telling you it's godly or look at God telling you it's the devil and not be able to figure out which is which. And that's the problem. If you have discernment, it doesn't matter what anybody says or prefaces or describes or wraps it in whatever way they want to. The truth doesn't change based on what it's wrapped in or how it's prefaced. Okay? Help you out. We're helping here constantly. I've helped so many folks, it's immeasurable. Countless folks I've helped out of their just disempowerment, disenfranchisement, delusion, denial, projection, rejection. This clown is irate constantly. No, you're the clown, and I was waiting for you to come fully out of your cloak, hater. You're gone for good now. See? I'm not irate. I'm inspired. I'm passionate. I'm engaging. You're just constantly dull and disempowered, and you take somebody who's lit up and awake and on fire as somebody who's irate. If you think this is irate, you don't know what irate is. You should have seen me at various points in my life. When I put my head through a door one day, that was irate. When I challenged 5 of my relatives, 3 of them, whatever it was, my two uncles, my father. Yeah, 2 uncles and father. And there was another one too, but it was mainly them 3. When I told them all I was going to beat their ass all at the same time and none of them stepped up, I was irate that day. When the guy spit on me in traffic because of what the driver did. I was in the passenger seat and I went to go grab a gun to put it in his face. I was irate that day or in that moment. This is not irate. You have no idea what irate is. So please take your beta male, weak ass, cowardly bullshit somewhere else. Just another excuse. That was the same guy who said that only corrupt people are attracted to power and control in any form. So there you go. You sold me out. You made it easy. You called me a clown and said I'm always irate. That way you could demean me and devalue what I'm doing and saying, and then you don't have to listen or compare the fact that you're a weak ass bitch who has no get up and go and no fire in your belly. And that's why you're cucked out everywhere in your life, I would bet. So I'm going to help you out. You go to Slack Cots down the hall to the left. When you get the smell of broken dreams and failure and delusion and denial, you'll know you're there. This isn't the place for you. Literally like running a fucking daycare here, day in and day out when I come here. The fact I found this channel is incredible considering what is being pushed out everywhere else. Well, yeah. You can argue that even with the shadow banning and the lack of notifications and all the rest of it, somehow, some way, whoever's meant to be here for whatever little bit they're needing in their life to go to the next level, they somehow make it here. I've noticed that from the beginning. Folks go, I don't know. I don't even know how I got here. You know, it hasn't shown up anywhere. You know, there's some other bigger plan and program and order happening beyond just what YouTube and Google and the rest have fashioned for us. So we can take comfort in that. We can find faith in that. We can find trust in that. Whoever's meant to be here and get whatever it is that I'm offering somehow finds a way here and seemingly gets an opportunity in their life to do the next thing that seems right for them in order to learn more and maybe change that. Right? There isn't necessarily a one size fits all perspective here. We could argue there's one truth, one life, one way, but there's many paths to the top of the mountain, so to speak. Potentially. I don't want to make a claim that I have the market cornered on consciousness and awareness. So join me on Telegram. There it is. There's the link. Go on over there. Get involved with whatever's going on there that I look over it every day, but I'm not really that involved. I just kind of watch over, make sure people aren't trying to grift off the audience and sell programs, and I ban them and try to do deviance. But other than that, folks post various characters in there. They argue and debate with each other. So it's a whole thing. Do the thing on the way out, right? I deserve it. I think. I'm biased, but I deserve it. I would be honest. If I didn't deserve it, I'd tell you. Okay, bye. Back tomorrow, 12 to 5 MDT. I said that already. Say goodnight to the bad guy. You know the thing. Much love, much love. Said it twice.
Beta bitches from top to bottom. Worried about what Paulie's gonna do and be when they haven't done and been nothing yet. Not even with their own damn women and children. Beyond embarrassing and pathetic. Bunch of beta males raised by Jezebels, tricked out of their power and position, won't act like men because they're too busy replicating the bitch who didn't raise them. Laughable, the shit that you folks say and do. You don't even realize it's an indictment on yourself and your lineage. Tired of you bitch-ass motherfuckers yapping online. This shit's boring, man. We've been doing this for years now. It's boring. I want to take things to the next level. What is there, maybe 1% of the world who can understand and communicate effectively what's going on and master themselves to a degree that they can move forward and make change? Right. So about 1% of folks we meet on here are going to replicate the 1% in the world. The rest of the 95, 98, whatever it is percent are going to be loser, failure, cowards who are rejecting, ignoring, and projecting and asking for a master to pay to do it. It makes sense if you don't think about it. If you just understand inherent hierarchical power and value systems and dynamics. And you don't have to feel any way about it. I'm not hopeless because of that. I'm motivated and inspired by that. I'm on the right side of history and truth. I'm chosen by God. I'm in a minority here. I don't need the tattoos on my skin. I got real symbols of power and value that work for me on the ground and cause and effect. Bitch ass motherfucker. and I'll say it out the side of my mouth after you break my jaw. It's not going to change the reality. Money can't buy class. Money can't unlame you. Money can't unslave you. Can't unslave or empower the masses. Only knowledge can do that. And I've been giving that the fuck away since the beginning while proving concepts.
That's you.
Next. Why are you mad? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. This is how us East Coasters care and are passionate for truth. The rest of you apparently around the world don't know how we are. This is not mad. If I was mad, I'd stop yelling. I'd stop talking. I'd figure out a way to stop you from doing what I don't like. If I was actually mad and angry and didn't see any point and see redeemability, I'd just cut you the fuck off and move on with my life, which I very rarely, if ever, have done. Because I'm so forgiving and patient, long game, while you folks are so insufferable and frustrating in your insanity, looping and spinning and cycling and pretending you don't know what the fuck I'm saying and why it applies, and focusing on everything else but that, including my tone and my facial expressions and all the rest of it. I think it's a rather interesting game, actually, that you're all playing. Doesn't amount to anything. I know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know a change needs to happen. You're not going to do it. And we're going to play games on how Paulie Boy's not incredible. Let's go. Let's do it. Doesn't change the facts. Doesn't change the facts. I had to learn as well how to, at times, shut up and observe and try to catch the move of what's happening and what things are about. Not by spinning and cycling and asking rhetorical questions and then not listening to answers. Questions, comments, concerns, presentments, projections, rejections, obfuscations, deflections, presumptions, assumptions, imagined disagreements. I'm open to all of it. I'm talking about consciousness and awareness and life, whether that relates on the micro level to the participants here today, and then indirectly on the macro level to every other self, because on the highest level, we're all one self. I prove that here regularly by you folks coming in here and doing and saying the same exact fucking things, even down to responding and reacting to what I say, the same things, the same way. Proving there's only one self, just like the I Ching says, there's only 64 combinations of what's going to go on here.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I want to help you. I want to help you live the life you want to love.